I will die as a Muslim. I'm telling you, I'm going to die as a Muslim woman. Let me tell you, let me confirm that to you. There are too many versions of the Bible
When
seemingly
an attention
contradicting
seeker
the others.
think Muslims have knowledge of scripture and challenge the children of God.
And they honored
Watch.
me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Exactly. Their heart is far from me. And look at the way Muslims are dishing out Bible. You know, they cannot dish out Quran like that. They cannot dish out Quran like that.
All right, Sam, on the issue of what the Quran says about the Bible, go ahead and share your thoughts. And if you want me to pull up any verses for you, I can. Other than that, I'll probably stay out of it.
Yeah, no, I'm going to just go to chapter 2 of the Quran, and I want you to write these down. Chapter 2, that you're going to have to address in context because you misquoted 275. You took it out of context. Write down chapter 2, verses 40 to 44, chapter 2, verse 89 and 91, chapter 2, verse 97, chapter 2, verse 101, chapter 2, verse 113, chapter 2, verse 136, and that's just in chapter 2. Again, you misquoted chapter 3, verse 78 of the Quran. You wrenched it out of context, as well as chapter 3, verse 187. So here I'm going to ask you to write down chapter 3, verses 3 and 4. Write these down because we're going to have to engage these texts. Your own Quran, which you quoted out of context to make it say something it didn't. Chapter 3, verse 48. Chapter 3, verse 50. Chapter 3, verse 113 to 114. Then you went to chapter 5 and misquoted chapter 5, verse 13 out of context to make it say something that the context says it cannot be saying unless you believe the Quran is full of contradictions, and it is, but for other reasons. So write down chapter 5 of the Quran, verses 43 to 48, chapter 5, verse 66, and chapter 5, verse 68. Write those passages down. And then again, you did it with chapter 6, verse 91. You again quoted it out of context. So again, I'm going to help you read your own Quran in context. Go to chapter 6 of the Quran, verses 114 and 115. 6, 114 and 115. And unlike you, I'd like to engage these texts and read them to see what they say. But for the sake of time, 6, verses 114 and 115, and then add these as brownie points. Chapter 10, verse 37 of the Quran. Chapter 10, verse 94 of the Quran. Chapter 12, verse 111 of the Quran. Add that. Then add chapter 15, verse 9 of the Quran. Cross-reference that with chapter 16, verse 43 of the Quran. And chapter 21, verse 7 of the Quran. And then icing on the cake, chapter 46, verse 12, and verse 30 of the Quran. All of which say that one of the proofs that your prophet was a true prophet, it's not that he confirmed the Bible's corrupt. He actually confirmed the Bible is incorruptible, that the scriptures are preserved and authoritative and to be used to judge Muhammad and also to live according to their dictates. So you're wrong. Muhammad did not say the Bible is corrupt. That's your misreading of the Quran, which is why you had to run to Ibn Kathir. But when did Ibn Kathir come? He didn't come in the time of your prophet. He didn't even come in the 9th century, nor did he come in the 10th century. Ibn Kathir is about 700 years removed from the time that your prophet died. So talk about being desperate. You have to go to someone who comes about 700 years later, who assumes that the Bible's corrupt, and then he misreads the passages like you do to prove biblical corruption. But conveniently, you didn't mention Ibn Qayyim, because both Ibn Qayyim and Ibn Kathir were both students of Ibn Taymiyyah.
He shot you!